31 races down, 3 to go, and here comes the big one. Senior Rotax, final number 2. 36 drivers, a capacity grid here at Karting Genk. Your starting order is as follows. Dylan LaHaye will start on pole position. Alongside him will be Great Britain's Sean Butcher, who's looking forward to trying to get redemption from the Winter Cup back in February. Mads Rees and Storm Brouwer, that's row 2. Lewis Gilbert and Matilda Olsson. Row 3, Luca Leistra, Zsombor Kovac, Kai Hunter and Max Stemmerdink round out the top 10 positions. Arthur Horsch, Andreas Hebert, Lachlan Robinson, Guilherme de Oliveira, Elia Galvanin, Felix Jansson, Emily de Hoys, Reese Hunter, Fabian Bock and Bradley Barrett round out the top 20. Luna Blum, Philip Vava, Teddy Clinton, Kilian Tarnier, Ollie Pilker, Teresa Babikova, Jordi van der Eyck, Robin Knutsson, James Johnson, and also Lukas Hartmann from Germany rounding out the 30 strong. And then the last 6 are Anthony Boulou from France, Vincent France from Germany, Jules Castro from Belgium, Laura Zanen also hailing from these shores, with Mario Sidler and Karol Kret rounding out the 36 strong grid. 14 minutes this time of racing action plus an additional lap. A slight rain shower is hitting the circuit. So the top 4 coming into this race are split by just 12 points. It's 25 for a win, 20 for second, 16 for third, 13 for fourth, and 11 for fifth. And then from 6th down to 15, we go all the way from 10 to 1. The anticipation is absolutely overwhelming. Senior Rotax, one of the most explosive categories when it comes to racing action at the limit of adhesion in the Rotax racing family. 48 drivers entered this weekend. We did have some drivers decide to not compete, but nevertheless, the final 36 go into battle for their last time. 9 races, the 9th and final one set to conclude the action. The revs rise, lights are out and we are racing. Great start by Dylan LaHaye, but Sean Butcher trying to put it around the outside of the Belgian. Runs a little bit wide. Mads Rees up the inside into second place. And oh no, Butcher hits the side of Rees and goes spinning. And everyone else is trying to avoid. Butcher rejoins all the way down the order. He's going to drop out of the top 25. That's disaster for Sean Butcher. Mads Rees, in the meantime, he now jumps up into second position as a result of that drama for Sean Butcher. But there are still 13.5 minutes plus an additional lap still to go. Butcher tried to go up the inside of LaHaye into turn 1, and it did not work out. The back end sapped out. He went spinning. And he's now got to try and do his best to get back up the order. And when you have another 33 or 34 drivers ahead of you, that is one excessively steep mountain to climb, as we've got one driver definitely not. Now, who is that off of the... now, is that's not Bradley Barrett, is it, that's dropped and is broken, that has stopped off of the exit of turn 9. LaHaye leads, Rees in second, Gilbert third. That's Storm Brouwer, followed by Matilda Olsson, who rounds out the top 5. Olsson came into this with 10 points as Storm Brouwer tries to go up the inside going into turn 3 on Lewis Gilbert. Can't get through on the Scott as it is nearly 3 abreast. Oh my goodness me, that's one. That is, I think, Teddy Clinton that got up the inside and managed to get through for position. Or was that Kai Hunter? But the drivers make their way down to turn 7 for the second time of asking. Lead between Dylan LaHaye and Mads Rees. Nearly a second as of the completion of lap number 1 of this race. Fastest lap of the race is being held by the leader. And unfortunately, yes, that was Bradley Barrett that did start to have problems and ended up having major dramas and nearly came to a nigh on standstill coming out of turn 9. Leaders now coming through the final corner. 11 minutes and 35 still to go. Everyone's scrabbling for traction. LaHaye, Rees, Gilbert, Brewer, Olsson. That's the top 5, followed by Leistra, Kai Hunter, Zsombor Kovac, Andres Hebel, as Max Stammerding gets passed by Guilherme de Oliveira, as there are more dramas. And that is one of the KR Sport carts, and that was Guilherme de Oliveira that has now dropped down a little bit further. He's gone, ended up behind Artur Horsch, who's now trying to go back up the inside of. And just up ahead is Reese Hunter in the 3.33. Kai Hunter a little bit further up the road in 7th position in the 3.95. So Bradley Barrett, he's now going to have an early shower, unfortunately, is the 3.27 from Great Britain, having started down in started in 20th position. A real shame. But LaHaye leading on home soil. Lewis Gilbert trying to muscle his way past Mads Rees through turn 12. Gets up close to the back bumper of the 3.79 from Denmark and now goes for it. Jinks to the left, jinks to the right, goes to the left. Trying to get a bit more traction coming through turn 2. Gets a real good run. Oh, slips in front, just in front of turn 3. Brilliant dice there by Lewis Gilbert, but Mads Rees re-counters, and then so does Lewis Gilbert. So they change positions twice in 2 corners through turns 4 and 5. God, I was so excited about that one. I got my corner numbers mixed up. So Lewis Gilbert now ahead of Mads Rees. Matilda Olsson trying to chase down the Netherlands Storm Brewer from SP Motorsport as they now make their way through into turn number 7. And at the moment, Sean Butcher, having dropped all the way down to the back part of the field, now is 30th and is starting to make some inroads. As I said earlier, after that incident happened, that is an incredibly tough challenge. But with the competitiveness of someone like Sean Butcher, who will want to get up the order as quickly as possible, side his way through the field. And there's a few carts ahead. I can see Sean Butcher coming through turn 10. Leader has crossed the line about 7 seconds ago, and that was Dylan LaHaye. He is the lead over Lewis Gilbert of over 3.879 seconds. Dylan LaHaye now has the fastest lap of the race, but now that Lewis Gilbert has clear air ahead, he was just under 9/10 off in terms of pure lap pace, which allowed the gap to extend from 2.9 seconds to 3.8. And we've now had 2 time penalties. And one of them has gone to Sean Butcher for a pushing penalty, 5 seconds added. The other one has gone to the 3.02 of Ollie Pilker. So both drivers now hit with 5-second time penalties that will be added to their race time after the conclusion of this second final. 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go, plus an additional lap in this race. And I'm just seeing that Kai Hunter is ahead of Zsombor Kovac. And Andreas Hebel, the French driver from Dams Racing, really thriving in the wet weather conditions, having started in 12th, now up into P9. LaHaye crosses the line to complete lap number 5. And Lewis Gilbert is starting to try and build momentum, try and close the gap. He's 3.8 seconds off and then puts in the fastest lap of the race in the process. Zsombor Kovac trying to swap positions with Kai Hunter, who powers around the outside of the Hungarian going into turn number 3 and gets through before the apex even exists on that particular corner. Mario Sidler up to 33rd. Jules Castro down all the way to 35th. We've had one retirement in the form of Bradley Barrett. I think that Jules Castro might be deciding. I had a quick chat with him earlier. He said I had a bit of a problem in the last final, so I think I had a bit of a misfire happening. So drama's happening all up and down the field, whether it's on track or whether there's an issue that they find that there's a problem with the car. But Sean Butcher now has climbed up to 23rd position. Next up on his hit list will be Jordi van der Eyck and then Elliot Galvanin. Six minutes, 35 to go on the clock. Lead now extends to 4.231 seconds. LaHaye in prime position. Leading the way ahead of Lewis Gilbert. Mads Rees rounds out the top three. Stormbrower being chased down by Matilda Olsson from Sweden. As up the inside goes Zsombor Kovac again on Kai Hunter, just behind Andreas Hebel. But up ahead of this battling quartet, which is rounded off by Reese Hunter, is Luca Leistra, who started on 7th place on the grid as Hunter now loses out a myriad of places, as brother Reese, I think, is now ahead in the 333. Hunter now, Kai Hunter drops back behind Zsombor Kovac. Well, now he's behind Andreas Hebel as the 305 of Portugal's Guilherme de Oliveira. Now factoring in, this is the battle for what is 11th position at the back end of this train. LaHaye leading. Just looking forward like a primed racehorse with the blinkers on, making sure that every apex is hit correctly. Every line is taken, is done the right way. Smooth, consistent braking and throttle application. Neatly comes out of turns 4 and 5. So Kai Hunter now rounds out the top 10 positions. Felix Jansson drops behind Lachlan Robinson, as now it's getting a bit fisticuff out as, oh no! That is the 321 of Andreas Hebel that ends up running wide, as it might have been two abreast going through turn 4. Four minutes and 42 seconds still to go. Sean Butcher now hits the top 20, up into 19th position. 4.5 minutes still remaining on the clock. Battles now factoring in from the bottom half of the top 10 downwards. There's some really good scraps going on as the drivers not only try and circumnavigate their competitors, but also circumnavigate the conditions, as there's a near-on tussle. Oh, that is between the 301 of Max Stemmerdink, and that might have been Luna Blum, but there is the 379 of Mads Rees being passed by Stormbrower. So Stormbrower now up into P3 and has managed to pull away from Matilda Olsson, who still rounds out the top 5. Olsson was the points leader after the intermediate classification, having the lowest point score of anybody with 2 heat wins and a third, and also took the aggregated pole position in time qualifying. But whilst Polman and Rees are battling, Olsson will now just keep a little bit of distance, because the first thing that Olsson will want to do is that if the two in front come together, to have the opportunity to make that split second decision quickly and decisively at a moment's notice. Another 5-second penalty, it looks like. 3:01. Now, I haven't seen anything on the timing screen, but as Lewis Gilbert's out. Lewis Gilbert is out of the race. He was running as high as P2, but that has now meant that Mads Rees takes second position. No, that's not the case, because Stormbrower factors in. Matilda Olsson powers round the outside of Mads Rees and tries to get the cut back through into turn 4, but the Dane shuts the door on the Swede. So drama for both Lewis Gilbert and Bradley Barrett. Their weekend's coming to a sudden end in final number 2 after all that hard work yesterday. Philip Vava from Spain now up into 25th position. The 3:01 of Max Stemerdink was the number that I saw flashing on the timing screen, and has had a 5-second time penalty given to him as a result of causing an avoidable collision. Now Matilda Olsson has got past Mads Ries eventually, and now has around about 3 minutes or so to try and close on Justin Pohlmann. Now I'm looking at the point side of things. Stormbrouwer, who is currently second. So LaHaye will get a maximum score with the way things are going, as Olsson now goes defensive into turn 2 on Mads Ries and closes up on Stormbrouwer. Manages to avoid. So we're fast running out of time. Drivers that are made up now. Sean Butcher has, I think, has he got a catapult on the back of that car? Because he has been like a driver possessed. The red mist clearly down, and is now in 12th position and will be closing on Olli Pilka, and is about 1.324 seconds behind, and there are 54 seconds on the clock remaining. So I'm just making some quick calculations that the way things are going at the moment, that Dylan LaHaye would win the weekend. Stormbrouwer would end up second by just a single solitary point ahead of Mads Ries, and who would round out the podium. But Matilda Olsson has this plus an additional lap as we go on to the penultimate lap of the race, and LaHaye is already through turn 5. So Olsson, last time around, did a 1 minute 13.692. That was nearly 4 tenths quicker than Stormbrouwer. And Stormbrouwer is about 6 tenths of a second up the road. But that depends on how quickly Olsson can push the envelope, as Hebau in the middle of, Olli Pilka trying to go up the inside of the French driver, and round the outside, heading into turn 6, tries to go Sean Butcher, and he's going to try and mug the pair of them, and he gets past. That's a brilliant opportunistic strategic move there. And that means that Sean Butcher is now back into the top 10 after such a fight back. Okay, he's got a 5-second penalty, but the drive and determination of the British driver is, I second to none cannot question that. That is a sign of things to come. But then Guilherme de Oliveira going towards the outside of the number 333 of Rhys Hunter. This is the battle for 7th on the road, as the final lap has been shown already to Dylan LaHaye. Stormbrouwer in 2nd, Matilda Olsson in 3rd, Mads Ries, Luca Leistra. They round out the top 5 positions. Zombor Kovac in 6th. 7th it's Rhys Hunter. Guilherme de Oliveira in 8th place ahead of Kai Hunter, and Sean Butcher now in the top 10. Butcher, I think, might try and get up into 9th place if he can get quickly past Kai Hunter, as he's behind the Brit. Going through turns 3, 4, into 5. Can't go through on 5, as Dylan LaHaye is just comfortably bringing the cart home. The gap between him and Stormbrouwer last time around was 10.8 seconds. So it is really a case of, let's just get home. Let's bring it home safe and sound. And Dylan LaHaye manages to survive a first corner incident where Sean Butcher could have actually taken the lead. But then it's doing the double. Dylan LaHaye wins here on home soil in Belgium, and provisionally speaking takes the weekend win in senior Rotax. Stormbrouwer will take 2nd. Matilda Olsson did her level best and got up to 3rd position. Mads Ries in 4th place. Luca Leistra makes it 2 Belgians in the top 5. Zombor Kovac is followed by Rhys Hunter, Guilherme de Oliveira, Kai Hunter, Andreas Hebau. Sean Butcher ends up in 11th position at the end of it all, ahead of Olli Pilka. Now let's not forget that Sean Butcher has that 5-second time penalty to be added, and that will put him in around about 16th position, so just outside of the points. So Knutsson will follow Pilker ahead of Blum, Arthur Horsch, Max Stemmerdink, Emily de Hoys, Lachlan Robinson finishing in 18th. Or 17th, Fabian Bock 19th, Elia Galvanin, well 18th for Robinson, Fabian Bock 19th, Elia Galvanin in 20th, Felix Jansson 21st, Jordi van der Eyck, followed by Teddy Clinton, James Johnson, Philip Vava, Anthony Boulou, Teresa Babikova. The penalty has been applied, it looks like, for Sean. Well, it has been applied for other drivers, which will include the 301 of Max Stemmerdink, who drops to 24th. So Philip Vava 25th, Boulou, Teresa Babikova, Karol Kretz. The adjustment has been made. Sean Butcher will be classified ahead of Ollie Pilker. Lucas Hartmann, Vincent France, Mario Sidler, Lara Zanen, Kylian Tarnier, and Jules Castro rounding out the 34 that finished. And unfortunately, it was retirements on lap 7 for Lewis Gilbert, who is running up as high as second, and Bradley Barrett's not even making it to the end of lap number 1.